Hey Kelsey, this is Mrs. Skogloins. Just wanted to give you a little bit of feedback on your summer assignment. We're mostly going to talk through this second question or paragraph because that was the one that you starred, but we will kind of touch on other ones as we're going through it as well. So the first thing that I look for in your paragraph is a strong topic sentence, and ideally we want that to answer the question that was provided and kind of preview what's going to come in the paragraph. So if you notice, the question is, what are some of the careers being impacted and how are they being impacted? So your topic sentence kind of just says there are careers that are being impacted, which is kind of what the question already stated, right? So I think in the future it would be a good revision to actually answer that question in that opening sentence, okay? And that way we know, okay, this is what the paragraph's going to be about. Next, I actually look at the end of your paragraph to see if that concluding sentence again goes back to the question and kind of ties it all up and signals to the reader that, the paragraph is over. Again, Kelsey, I think like you had a concluding sentence, and actually in some of your paragraphs I don't think you did, but in this one I think you did. But again, it was kind of just a little vague, like our directed thinking careers are going to impact other careers. Well, how is that? What are some of those careers, right? So just work on being a little more specific. Next, I looked at evidence, and I think this was the strong point of your paragraphs, Kelsey. You, I think, selected good pieces of evidence, like you talk here about engineers, and then down here you talk about physicians, so I think that allowed you to develop the paragraph nicely. Also, you're doing a good job of what we call embedding or integrating evidence. So like if I read this, it says engineers must also make products beautiful, unique, and meaningful in order to be successful. So even with the quotes, that flows together really nicely, which is exactly what we want. So good job there. Next, I looked at commentary, and I definitely think this is an area where you would want to go back and revise, Kelsey, because something I'm noticing you're doing, not just in this paragraph, but pretty much in all of them, is you just move kind of from quote to, like, this isn't a quote, but it's a transition, right? It's not commentary. Another quote, this is, I think, another piece of evidence. It's not about this quote. So really what I'm seeing is there's not commentary, and that's critical for you to have in your paragraph, because commentary is you explaining to me why you picked this quote to support your answer to the question. Okay, so I can give you some examples of what that would look like, but I definitely would encourage you to go back and add that in. Lastly, I looked at in-text citations. You're really close, but just don't have this comma. And I did think that your conventions and proofreading looked really good, so I forgot to put that in there. But good job. I could tell you had read everything carefully. And then our directed activities looked good as well. I liked the one on story especially. Somebody else watched this same TED Talk too, so I was like, reminded me of that. But this TED Talk sounded really interesting and definitely sounded like this speaker used story in an effective way. So I'm glad that you got to watch that. Anyway, just wanted to give you a little feedback.